In the last class, we have seen a single user scenario. Today, we will discuss about multi-user scenario. In CDMA system. So when multiple users access the system simultaneously on same carrier frequency, and what type of the interference will be created among the users, that we are now going to discuss. For this purpose, we choose uplink communication, and it can be extrapolated to downlink also. So if this is a base station and there are users, so they are communicating in uplink, so each user will experience different channel coefficient, and each user has different data to transmit. So if this is user 1 and this is user 2, like that in the system, if there are m number of users present, then we are going to discuss now. So in detecting, say, ith user signal, how the remaining users will act as interference in decoding the ith user symbol, so that we are now going to discuss. So what will be received at the base station is, so from each user, a combined signal something like this. So usually they are experiencing the channel coefficient or channel gain is hi, and they are transmitting symbol is say xj, and each user is allocated with a code word, orthogonal code word something like this. So x2 like this. So and plus this is a noise vector. So this will be equal to the received total n number of chips. So the received n number of chips is equal to is composite of, or it's a combination of all the transmitted symbols from the users, and individually they are experiencing channel coefficient is this. So this is the received vector of y, so which is equal to actually, so y is equal to, so y has a number of chips, so y1, y2 up to yn. So in vector form we have written this equation like we did in last class. So we know also the noise vector is this is a Gaussian noise. So n1 is the complex Gaussian noise in the first chip, n2 is the complex Gaussian noise in the second chip, like that in a vector like this. So the received n number of chips you can write like this for all the m users. Now the base station wish to, so this Cj, so jth user is allocated to the jth code word. So now the base station is wish to extract the symbol of the ith user. So what base station will do is, it will take the dot product between the ith code word assigned to the user and the received chips in this one, and this dot product will be resulted in a scalar quantity, say that is something like y tilde, and y tilde is equal to, so multiplying this side 1 by n ci transpose dot product with the this one, so j is equal to 1 to m hj xj, this one, plus 1 by n ci transpose dot product with the noise vector. And we know this value is nothing but n tilde. This we have discussed in last class. This is a complex Gaussian noise, but its mean is 0 and variance is, it is a complex Gaussian noise, so it's a normal distribution, and whose variance is n naught by n. Okay, coming to this one, so now what we have is that y tilde is equal to, so 1 by n, so we write like this has j is equal to 1 to m hj xj 1 by n Ci transpose dot product with the Cj plus n tilde, and when j is equal to I, that will be the cross correlation between correlation with the self code. Then we get here hi into xi plus, and this you can write as cross correlation between ith code word and jth code word Rij. So j is equal to 1 to m and j not equal to I hi xj Rij plus n tilde. Now this is our required, because we are recovering the ith user signal. That's why we have multiplied with the ith code word. So this is the signal of our interest, and this is the noise part, and this additional part present in this total equation, it is an interference that is because of the other users present in the system. So these symbols are not belongs to xi, all these symbols are belongs to the other users. This part is actually will act as interference in decoding this xi. So this interference is due to the users, other users. So we call this interference as multi-axis interference. So this encircled part is nothing but called as multi-axis interference. So because in addition to signal component, we have interference and as well as noise. So we will define a term called as SINR. So SINR is nothing but signal to interference power plus noise power. So signal is what signal power. So that you can write as S is equal to the expectation of the signal component is hi into xi. So mod hi xi square like this. Then the instantaneous signal power is mod hi square into expectation of mod xi square. And if you write this as in terms of the received signal energy, you can write this as mod hi square into the received signal energy from the ith user. This is nothing but we are writing this in terms of the received signal energy. So then so this is actually similar. If you write this in terms of transmitted signal energy, then this channel coefficient will have the power. The power will be something like 2 sigma square, where sigma square is the real part of the h and sigma square is the imaginary part of the h. That is the power. But we are writing this in terms of what? Received signal energy. So here in this case, the expectation of mod hi square is equal to 1. So that this energy is what? Received signal energy. So that is what? EI. And coming to interference power, which is multi-axis interference power, that is equal to expectation of the interference component mod square. So interference component is, that is j is equal to 1 to m, j not equal to I, and it is hj xj into Rij. So this you can write as, so you can write something like expectation of something like z into z conjugate. So like that, where z is equal to So you can expand this as something like j is equal to 1 to m, some m is equal to 1 to m, where here j not equal to I as well as m not equal to I, hj into hm conjugate, and expectation of xj into xm conjugate, and expectation of, so cross correlation value Rij is actually real number, so we can write it as like this only without conjugate, like this. And if you observe this term, this is the correlation between two user symbols. So jth user symbol and mth user symbol, actually they will be uncorrelated, and if they are uncorrelated, you can write this as, because they belong to separate users data, so they will be uncorrelated. You can write this as xj expression except, so e of xy equal to e of x into e of y, like that. You can write this as like this. So assuming the modulation used having the zero average, so average amplitude of the constellation point is 0. So assume the average amplitude of the constellation point is 0 in the, so then this expectation of xj and as well as expectation of xm conjugate will be actually 0. Thereby this total value will become 0 when j not equal to m. So MAI, the multi-axis interference, will be actually, it will be 0 for all the values of j not equal to m, and it will have some value when only j is equal to m. So that is when it is only j equal to m, it will be reduced to single summation. So j is equal to 1 to m, j not equal to I. So it will be mod hj square, hj into hj conjugate will be mod hj square, and it will be expectation of mod xj square and into expectation of Rij square. So again we are writing this term, we are writing in terms of the received symbol energy or received power from the jth user, say Ej. Then in that case expected, so it is normalized coefficient, so mod hj square is equal to 1. And the other part here is, this we have derived in last class, this is equal to actually 1 by n. So substituting them, we get actually the multi-axis interference power is equal to 1 by n summation of j is equal to 1 to m, j not equal to I, mod hj square into Ej. So here where Ej is the jth received power, the received power from the jth user. So this is the multi-axis interference power. So now we write the signal to interference noise ratio expression is, that is mod hi square, this is the signal of interest, and Ei is the received energy or received power from the ith user, divided by 1 by n, j is equal to 1 to m, j not equal to I, plus n naught by n. So if you see, so in detecting the ith user symbol, the other user's power is actually playing a role here. So it can happen this way, that in uplink scenarios, it may happen that some users may be very close by to the base station, some users may be far away from the base stations. So who are far away from the base station, their received power will be much smaller than the received power from the users who are close by to the base station. So if all of them if both the users far away from the base station as well as the users from the near to the base station, if both of them are actually use the same transmit power, then it will happen that the received power from the far away users will be much less than the received power from the from the users who are very close by to the base station. So in such cases, what happens is, so these users will be actually, these powers will be actually in the denominator of this equation. That will greatly reduce the SNR for the users of the far away from the SNR for the users who are far away from the base station. So this actually this phenomenon is called as near far effect phenomena, or near far effect it is simply. So due to near far effect, so the users who are close by to the base station will dominate the SINR of the users for the far away from the base station, because the assumption is if they use the same transmit power. So to avoid this problem, what base station will employ is, that is called as uplink power control. So using uplink power control, so base station will command the users to adjust their transmit power level, so that all the received powers who are arriving to the base station will be equal. So for example, whoever the far away from the base station, they will base station will command them to increase their transmit power, and it will command the users who are close by to the base station that to reduce their transmit power in such a way that all the received powers from the different users will be same at the base station. So using power control, this thing will happen. Then, so assuming power control is employed here, then SINR in the uplink cases can be written like this. So mod HA square, it is E naught, and divided by 1 by, so here E naught by N, J is equal to 1 to M, and J not equal to I into mod HJ square is N naught by N. So if you see here, so this is actually multi-axis interference power so MA, this is the multi-axis interference power when power control is employed. So this is actually SINR for the expression for what? For the uplink scenarios. So for the uplink scenarios, this is the SNR expression, SINR. And where the multi-axis interference power is E naught by N into J is equal to 1 to M, J not equal to I, expectation of mod, this is simply HJ square. This is the multi-axis interference power when power control is employed. If you find the average multi-axis interference power, it means taking expectation, then you get it what? So J is equal to 1 to M, J not equal to I, expectation of mod HJ square. So we know the expectation of all channel coefficient power is equal to 1, thereby so the average multi-axis interference power will be equal to this is 1. When it is 1, it will be M minus 1 divided by N into E naught. So this is the average multi-axis interference power. If you observe this equation, as M increases, As M increases, the multi-axis interference power will also increase. So depending on the number of users present in the system, the SINR will vary. So in the CDMA systems. Okay. Now coming to the the multi-user scenario for downlink case. So in downlink, the base station actually multiplex everybody's data and transmit to all the users, and each user individually multiply with their code assigned to extract their symbols. So it will transmit actually to whole data to what every user in downlink, so that the channel coefficient experienced for all the symbols will be same in the downlink. So in uplink case, what actually happened is different symbols will experience different channel coefficients. But when you are talking about the ith user decoding, there, so each user the data belongs to other users also will experience what same coefficient of channel gain hi. Thereby the SNR expression will be. So SNR expression will be. It is mod hi square into E naught. So power control is also, so here power control is not necessary. Why? Because in downlink, so it transmit, so whatever the, so all these symbols are what going through same channel. So all the symbols will have, which are the symbols are which are like j's, from j is equal to 1 to m, all of them will have the same received power, that is what E naught. So power control is not necessary in downlink because all the symbols are multiplexed here. That is what is transmitted here is something like this. So xj into cj bar is transmitted. So what will be received here is, so hi into xj cj bar will receive. So for all of them the channel coefficient is same, so all of them the received power will also be same, so that is what E naught here. So SINR expression will be, so only thing we have to take into consideration is what the channel coefficient is unchanged here. So for across all the symbols, then you can write this as 1 by n. This is j is equal to 1 to n m and j not equal to I. And here also you get what mod hi only, mod hi square into E naught plus n naught by n. Thereby SINR expression will be reduced to mod hi square E naught divided by, so it is common, so we can take them out, so we get what m minus 1 by n mod hi square into E naught plus n naught by n. So this is the SINR expression for downlink. So only difference between the uplink and here is what? One is power control is not required here. The other one is the channel coefficient is same for all the data. For all the symbols, the channel coefficient is same here. So this is the multi-user performance here for the CDMA system. Both uplink and downlink we have seen. And next topic here. So far we are assuming what the flat fading channel kind, like we transmit a vector, say ith vector, and all the chips will be experiencing the same coefficient here. That is what the received vector. So this is our model so far. Now we discussed that what actually the CDMA signals are wide band signals, because after code multiplication the bandwidth of the transmitting signal will be increased. Thereby the CDMA signals are actually will experience frequency selective fading. So that analysis we will consider now. So actually the CDMA signals are what they will be experiencing frequency selective fading. So that we will see now. So in frequency selective fading means the channel impulse response will have multiple taps. So h of n is equal to something like L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, and it is something like h of L del of n minus L. So this is our channel impulse response, discrete time channel impulse response model, and the time gap between two channel coefficients is here is what our sampling rate is Tc, so it is Tc, and the maximum excess delay of the channel is can be characterized by tau max is equal to how many taps we have is L minus 1, so L minus 1 into Tc we can take this as the maximum excess delay, or we call this as a delay spread, or delay spread, or sometimes it is also be called as the maximum excess delay, can also be called as multi-path spread, something like this. Okay, actually channel is not now just a single coefficient. Actually channel is nothing but a sequence of impulses, a sequence of samples. In such case, so it will be actually convolved with the transmitting chips. So we now write instead of writing in terms of vector format, just let's write in terms of the chip wise format. That is, say y of n is the nth chip at the indexed n time. So y of n is equal to what we are transmitted is, say that is the data symbol x, say xi, and nth chip is say Ci of n, and this we have transmitted, and this will be actually convolved with the channel impulse response in frequency selective channel, and plus what we receive is here, that is the noise at the nth instant. So n of n we should write, but we will try this as w of n, just to where n is the time index. So far we have taken small n for noise, so just to avoid the confusion, we take W as the noise sample. So this is chip 5, so this is the chip at the this is the received chip. So y of n is the received chip at the nth instant. So that is y of n. So then the nth instant chip will be y of n is equal to, so this is actually, so conversion is there, so xi, so we take it out, xi, and it is n is equal to, or L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, and h of L into Ci of n minus L, this is what convolution happened, plus Wn, this is the our nth chip. And to extract the transmitter symbol, what we do is we calculate this one, because multiplying the code word of the ith code word with the received vector, that what we do here is we will calculate this part, so that is y of n into Ci of n, where n is equal to 1 to n. So we calculate this so that we can extract actually xi. So this side if you see, so this will be scalar now, so we call this as say y tilde, and y tilde is equal to what we, how do we get the xi back is, so we multiply the code. So this is the way of to calculate the dot product. Then it will be like this, so xi into, there will be double summation, that is L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, and n is equal to 1 to n, 1 by n is also there, that is into it will be Ci of n minus L, okay, here h of L into Ci of n minus L into Ci of n plus 1 by n is equal to 1 to n, so Ci of n into W of n. This is nothing but our the noise sample that we know, that is the what? That is n tilde, we have discussed this earlier, which is a Gaussian noise of zero mean and variance is n naught by n. Now if you see, so y tilde is equal to what we can write here is, so we are discussing in frequency LT channel, so y tilde is equal to, that is xi into L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, and it is h of L into 1 by n is equal to 1 to n, Ci of n into Ci of n minus L plus n tilde. Now if you observe what is this is nothing but it is the autocorrelation function of the means the correlation between the self code means same code, correlation same code, and evaluated at the lag L. Now what we can write is here is, that is xi into L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, h of L into Rii of L plus this one. And we know for PN sequences Rii of L is equal to 1 for L is equal to 0, and it will be equal to minus 1 by n for L not equal to 0. So using that one for PN sequence, it is actually, it means so as n is large, you can also take this value is near 0. So actually what we mean here is that is if you multiply with the other code and take this dot product, then also it will be 0 for other one codes. Even shifted code words, if multiplied with the self code word, then also the dot product will be 0 or near 0 for what? The other one codes chosen for what? The CDMA communication. So more or less actually, so if L is equal to 0, it will be equal to 1. So we simplify this to this part now. So using this one, so for L is equal to 0, we will get what? H of 0 into xi plus L is equal to 1 to L minus 1 h of L into Rii of L plus this one. So for any type of the code words selected, so this condition will hold. That is what, there will be a signal component, there will be a noise power, and there will be another thing, x is also there, xi is also there, and there will be another thing which will act as interference in decoding actually this xi, because this is a signal of interest. What is this interference is? This interference due to what? The other paths in the communication, means this interference is due to multipath propagation. Multipath. So this will act as interference in detecting actually the xi here. So this interference is due to multipath propagation. I is due to multipath propagation, and this interference is also called as multipath interference. So actually you can take this as 0, means near 0 at least, because of good autocorrelation properties of the codes used. So it may be 0 or near 0. Then we get actually, so y is equal to h of 0 into xi plus this one. So what happened now, though it is a frequency LT channel, but what we are experiencing is so what we have got here is a equation similar to the flat fading channel. So the CDMA will actually eliminate, so it will actually eliminate, the CDMA system will eliminate the multipath interference and pick up the first path, or pick up one of the paths. So CDMA will actually eliminate the multipath interference and make actually frequency selective channel as a frequency flat channel. So because of this orthogonality, orthogonal codes, and as well as the codes having good autocorrelation properties with them, the multipath interference will be removed in the CDMA system. Now, so if you see, so what we have got is actually, so that is here. Now what we have got is, so y tilde is equal to h of 0 into xi plus n tilde. So here we are not utilizing the actually the signal present in the other paths, but using CDMA system we can also pick up the other paths in the multipath. So how we can pick up is, that is through concept of called as rake receiver. So in rake receiver, what rake receiver does is, it will collect all the multipaths and produce the best signal for the maximum likelihood detection. So how we can utilize all the multipaths is something like this. So what we have now is, so it is y of n is equal to, the nth chip here is, that is so xi into h of l into Ci of n minus l, and where l is equal to 0 to l minus 1 plus wn. So instead of multiplying with the same code word, or instead of we multiply with the shifted code word, say by 1, so how we multiply is, say if you calculate this one, instead of multiplying Ca of n here like we did in the pages previously, so Ca of n minus 1, which is the circularly shifted code word. For example, if Ca is equal to, so this is the code word, then Ca of n minus 1 means circularly shifted code word will be, so minus 1 will come here, and 1 1, minus 1 1. So like this. So if you take the dot product with the circularly shifted code word like this, if you calculate this value, say n equal to 1 to n, 1 by n, then what happens is, here in this equation is, we can get it like this. So xi by n, l is equal to 0 to l minus 1, and n is equal to 1 to n, n is equal to 1 to n, and h of l, so h of l you can take here also, h of l, and this is Ca of n minus l into Ca of n minus 1 plus the w of n, and not this w of n, this is 1 by n summation of n is equal to 1 to n Ca of n minus 1 into w of n. And this will be a slightly different noise than the previous one. Maybe you can take it as n1 tilde, but you can prove that this will also be a Gaussian random number having mean 0 and variance is n0 by n. So now if you observe this one, what we get here is, so that equation can be changed to, so xi into L is equal to 0 to L minus 1, and it is h of L into the autocomplete function, shifted autocomplete function you will get here, Ri of L minus 1 plus N1 tilde. And you can write this as, when L is equal to 1, it will become Ri of 0, whose value is 1. So you can write this as h of 1 into xi plus L is equal to 0 to L minus 1. So this is actually multipath interference. H of L into xi is there. Rii of L minus 1, and where L not equal to 1 here, plus N1 tilde. So this multipath interference will be removed with the use of what? The autocorrelation property. Then what we get finally is, because of the multiplication with the shifted code word, what we get is h of 1 into xi plus N1 tilde. Similarly, if we multiply with two chips shifted code word, so if you multiply with, if you take the dot product with Ca of n minus 2, means two times circularly shifted. So if you take dot product with that one, then you can write 1 by n is equal to 1 to n y of n into Ca of n minus 2. This you can show it as h of 2 into xi plus n tilde 2. So thereby you can have any number of have this kind of equations. Say this y2 tilde. You can have this kind of equation, any number of kind of equations less than L. Say for example, you can have up to L minus 1 you can have, if you want, y L minus 1 tilde is equal to h of L minus 1. So Ray Kurzweil does what? This kind of equations will be, it will get like this. So if you see, so by taking dot products with the delayed code words, what we get the equation something like this. So first one is, without any delay we get this equation, without we delay in the code word, then you get this equation h of 0 into xi plus n0 tilde, and y1 is one delay in code word, and taking dot product you get this one. So like this, how many we can have is L minus 1 you can have. So 0 to L minus means total L number you can have. So h of L minus 1 into xi plus tilde. So how many you can have is n number of you can have. If you observe this one, all these h of 0, h of 1 are nothing but the channel tap coefficients. H of 0, h of 1, h of L minus 1 are nothing but channel tap coefficient or channel tap coefficients and they are uncorrelated. They are uncorrelated to each other. In uncorrelated scattering environment, thereby so what we have got is here n independently faded replicas and they can be combined to maximize the SNR. So how do we combine is by using MRC combining, maximal ratio combining. One can combine all these L outputs. So to produce, to maximize the SNR, to apply the maximum magnitude detection. So y is equal to, so we combining using maximal ratio combining, it will be through channel estimation, the receiver will have the channel tap coefficients and H of L conjugate into y tilde L, where L is equal to 0 to L minus 1. So like this, if you take the linear combination of all these outputs with their conjugate multiplication of their channel coefficients, so there is nothing but the output of the MRC where the SNR will be maximum and one can have lowest bit error rate possible. So the bit error rate expression, you can use the same bit error rate expression used for MRC. So in MRC combining for with spatial diversity, we had this one where you have L number of branches, so then 2L minus 1 L, so 2L minus 1 CL into 1 by 2 power L, so for QPSK modulation, and 1 by SNR power L. This was the expression for QPSK modulation and MRC. And MRC in a spatial diversity case. But here the diversity is not through different placing different antennas, but here the diversity is due to multipath. So this diversity, we call this as multipath diversity. We call the diversity, whatever we got now is called as multipath diversity. And in the CDMA system, the noise power is not N naught, it will be N naught by N. So the SNR, whatever we have used in earlier expressions, so SNR will be multiplied with what? N in the case of what? Maximal ratio combining of these outputs. So in CDMA, the SNR will be multiplied with what? N, and the same expression can be used. And one more difference is here that in MRC combining, all the channel tap coefficients are what? Equal powers. Means, so power will be mod H1 square will be equal to expectation of mod H2 square, like that in spatial diversity. But in multipath diversity, the first tap power will be generally high as compared to the second tap power. But neglecting this fact, one can use the same expression used with what? Spatial diversity. So assuming that all tap coefficients are having equal power, and we use this expression to calculate the bit error rate for this CDMA system and for this rake receiver. So what is rake receiver? We have done is that what we have done here is that the code will be delayed. So TC, the delay of TC, and there will be L minus 1 number of delays will be there, and this code will be multiplied with the sequence of received chips, and we calculate this product and the summation on this one. And what we get here is we get y tilde of 0, and similarly here what we get is, so one delay will be there, so y of n will be multiplied with delayed code word, and we take the summation. So like this, the last one will be, so this is y tilde of y tilde of 1, and here it will be, this is also y of n, and this is the CA of n. So this is 1 by n, and this is y L minus 1 tilde. And in MRC combining, what we do is that we will multiply this with h of 0 conjugate, and we multiply this with h of 1 conjugate, like that, dot dots. We multiply this with h of L minus 1 conjugate, and we add them, and to produce y, and to apply to the maximum likelihood detector, which will give us the estimate for the transmitted Xi. So this is a rake receiver architecture. Is the rake receiver. So it is actually, it will resemble the garden rake. So that's why they call this as a rake receiver. So each branch of rake receiver is called as actually finger. So here how many fingers are there is L fingers are there. So there are multiple branches are there. So called as what? L fingers are there. And beta rate expression will be inversely proportional to SNR power L. So the diversity order we call it as L. Diversity order is here. Order is L, because the beta rate is inversely proportional to SNR power L. So the number of fingers depends on number of fingers one can achieve the diversity order. So that is the end of CDMA systems and the rake receiver concepts. Thank you.